Hi guys, this is Michael from the Board Games Chronicle. Today I have a pleasure to present to you Donnerschlag, Escape from Stalingrad from VUCA Simulation. This will be kind of a first look at the game material. So while the unboxing shows you only the components and how to play shows you all the rules, here we will touch a little bit about the historical background, a little about the rules, components, what is in the box. So this will be more than the pure unboxing. I would like you to learn a little more about this really interesting game, and I can already add it immediately. Beautiful one. So from the historical perspective, Donnerschlag, which means the thunderbolt, was part of the operation to relieve the Stalingrad pocket. From one side, we have the operation Unternehmen Wintergewitter, so Operation Winter Storm, which was run by the German Panzer Army trying to get to the Stalingrad. And from the other side, the idea was to have a breakthrough operation by the von Paulus army. Von Paulus never was allowed to do the breakthrough operation, and the operation Wintergewitter, after initial successes, never achieved, the Stalingrad, and it actually doomed the fate of the Sixth Army. Let's see what we are getting in the box. VUCA Simulation is one of the newest publishers on the market. I'm really thrilled to start my, let's say, journey with this publisher. They are based in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, Germany, and they produce really beautiful games, to a large extent concentrated on the Eastern Front, but not only. So let's start with the rulebook. It's a nice glossy rulebook, which has, as far as the rules are concerned, about 10 pages. So not overly complex game, the Donnerschlag is. Here we are getting information about the counters. I will tell you a little more about the counters in a moment when you look at them. The division of the Soviet Union between corps and divisions and armies. We have information how the card-driven system works, because here we would have activations by cards, and also we'll use some combat cards. To this we'll be adding auxiliary tokens. Sequence of play, of course, stacking. There will be also rules regarding the command. The headquarters will have a command range. We have example here, a headquarter with its command range. We'll have, of course, supply. It should be shown here how the supply works. Of course, the combat with the table, CRT table, combat resolution table, and then some additional stuff here, how to win the game and what the Donnerschlag means. I like the concept in this game. If we look in the map at the moment, the concept is following. Of course, the Hermann Hof Panzer Army is attacking towards the Stalingrad. We actually can show this here on the historical map. So Hot is attacking that way, and this is what they managed to achieve. And at some point in time, and it should be really well synchronized, von Paulus should start attacking this way. So start Operation Donnerschlag. In the game terms, you actually secretly set up the meeting point and start the Donnerschlag. So this attack by the von Paulus, and it lasts 4 turns, and at the end of the 4th turn, you are checking whether you achieved the result. So actually, whether you reached this place, which you secretly chosen on the map, and you simply have your forces in communication and in supply. So this is really interesting game and interesting, let's say, simulation of this relief operation. Okay, one thing which I would like to draw your attention to is historical notes. In VUCA simulation games, I saw it in a couple of the rule books, there is always a very interesting historical background with nice maps. Here we have also additional pictures which show, okay, first of all, Operation Uranus. So what happened near the Stalingrad, in November 1942, and how the Sixth Army was encircled. And then you have Wintergewitter and the Donnerschlag, which never happened. So they never tried to break through from Stalingrad. So this is it. We have always a short bio or some additional information about the main persons of the campaign. Here, in this case, we have about Hermann Holt and about his Panzer army. Yep, there is also a section for design notes. It explains to you what was the idea behind the design, how some choices were made, and exactly why we see some particular mechanics in the game. Here is the map, here is the setup. You will see a map in a moment. This is a Stalingrad cauldron, and here's the Hermann Hoth attacking that way. So this is it for the rulebook. Then we have cards. First of all, we have activation cards. As you can see, this is the Soviet activation card. These are German. At the beginning of a turn, you have 5 cards. You can upgrade this, I believe, to 6 cards. And each and every of those cards allows you for some different activation. For example, in this card, we have player may activate that division or 23rd Panzer division. Here we can activate 2nd Guard Army or 51st Army or blue units of 1 army. And you have such 5 cards. They are divided between early part of operation, and there should be also late part of operation. Early part of operations is first 4 turns, late part of operations are another 4 turns, and you are adding the cards to this. So pretty nice way of activating wings. Also, it will help you with solitary play, because you can, for example, choose 5 cards or choose it randomly and then play them one by one and see whom you can activate. I think perfectly suited for the solitary play. So these are the activation cards. On top of this, each and every player will have 5, or if they upgrade, 6 combat cards. And as you can see, these are the Soviet combat cards, and this will be the German combat cards. And let me tell you how does it work. On each combat card, you have 2 events. You have general event and tactical event. When you play an event, you need to roll a die, and if you roll correctly, the event will happen. In case of general events, they are usually much more powerful. That means that the card after the usage usually will be removed from the play. The tactical events are not so much powerful, so usually they will go to the discard pile and will be able to be played once again. Each side has like 5 cards at the beginning of a turn. They can save 1 for the next turn, so usually it makes sense to use all of them. As for the activation cards, you have 5 cards and you need to play all of them one by one. So one side then the other side. I saw similar mechanic in Enemy Action Kharkov by John Butterfield. Where you also have cards to activate particular areas of front. I think this is really good and good mechanics, because first of all, you don't have a usual I go, you go with the whole front. Second thing, you have much more interaction between the players, because each and every of them is moving only small portion of the front. And third, you really don't know what your opponent will do during this turn, because you don't know which areas, which corps, or maybe which armies he will be able to activate. Let me put this aside. Combat cards, activation cards here. Now let's look what else do we have here. We have, of course, 2 die, 26. Then we have player 8. What I like about VUCA is that the player 8 are mounted, really nicely mounted. You have sequence of play, combat resolution table, some additional stuff about terrain, combat modifiers, and important rules. On the other side, you have extended sequence of play with all the details here. and the second player 8 has similar for the second player. Okay, now we look at the map, and in order to look at the map, I will need to move the stuff a bit. The map is mounted. The map is beautiful. Simply love how does it look like. Okay, let me just open it for you. Okay. Beautiful mounted map. Not huge, not small, just enough for the operation. And let me just start. You should see almost the whole. What do we have here? We have place for activation deck, for the combat deck, permanently removed combat cards and discard pile. You can also use one combat card here, and that card will be automatically successful. The event will be automatically successful. Here we see the Stalingrad Kotiel, Stalingrad Cauldron. Yeah, this is here. And the attack starts over there. Hetman Hermannhof army starts from over there. And you see here are the main obstacles on the path there. Here we have a turn track, all 8 turns. The 8th turn could be played in a special way of activation, depending if you'd like to use the special rules. Here you have markers for activation card limit, combat card limit, and Schlachtenglück. Very interesting mechanic about Schlachtenglück. This is a token which when you use, you give to the other side. And Schlachtenglück works in the way that you can reroll one die. So simply you would like to get some better die roll. Or second thing, you can draw another card because maybe you don't like the 5 cards you draw, you would like to change. And once you use the Schlachtenglück, you move it to the other side. Very, very thematic, I think. I really like it. Okay, here we have, of course, also supply zones. Let me show it also from that perspective. Beautiful map. I really, really like it. Really also appreciate that you have names, yeah, in English and in Russian, I believe. I have Aksai, Zhutov, Kotelnikovsky, yeah, so this is more or less from where the attack was moving. So definitely the quality of the product of the map is superb. I'm really appreciating how beautiful it is. But that's not everything. Let's move on. Then we have the setup cards, yeah, for the, first of all, for the Germans. Donnerschlag, Escape from Stalingrad, Axis setup. So you can put all your tokens here, and then you just read where they are being used. You have here German armies, you have Romanians, yeah, here are the Romanians armies. I'm not sure if we have also Hungarians, we'll have to check. Okay, nothing on the other side. Again, the setup is mounted. That's what I wanted to tell you. And we have a similar setup also for the Soviet unit, I believe. Let me just get this outside. Yeah, we have also similar setup for the Soviet units. And also some markers. Some of the markers will be in the cups, so you will be drawing them randomly, like, for example, reinforcements, the tank reinforcements. Again, you put all of the tokens here and then can quickly set them up on the map. Now, beautiful counters. First of all, please note they are also pre-rounded, so you can easily get them from the box and use them. And let us have a look at some of the counters. Here is the infantry counters. Yeah, this is mechanized infantry. This would be the regular infantry. The first number 2 is combat value, 3 is their movement. If it's white, it's simply like movement. If it's yellow, that means mechanized movement, or simply the movement which will also be able to add to the combat arms. And if you have something like this is tank movement, and sorry, I missed it. This is the strength which is adding to the combined arms, the yellow strength. And if the strength is yellow or red, it's both combined arms and also tank adjustment. Here simply white means leg movement, this will be motorized movement, and this will be tank movement. What do we have also on the counters? This symbol means that it doesn't count versus the stacking limit. This means the number of steps, so the most, I believe, are 2. For example, here in 23rd Panzer Division. Here we'll have the 23rd Panzer Division headquarters. Now, for the Soviets, you can see the arms here, 2 steps. Panzers, we should have also here the 51st Army general the headquarters. And interesting thing, this is the range and this is the movement points. So in essence, the Soviet headquarters are not moving. You have only events which can move them, while the German divisions can move, as you can see. On the other part of the counter sheet, you have, by the way, you have some more Russian units. Important thing, you can use 2 types of the tanks. You can use them, I believe, with the pictures or with the NATO symbols. Yeah, there are two versions of them, and you can use one of the versions. Here we have some additional markers, like breached minefield, for example, overrun. This is Schlachtenglück, which I told you about. These are the limits which can be also checked, and out of supply. The Donnerschlag, the meeting zone. Oh, you see the meeting zone. So the dummy meeting zone, and the actual meeting zone, which you put on the map secretly, so your opponent does not know where you're actually trying to get to. Okay, and these are all the components, and that would be the basic mechanics behind the game. Beautiful components, everything. The cards, the map, the player aids, the setup. This all looks simply gorgeous. The game doesn't seem too long, like 10 pages of rules, not too much. At the same time, you have about, I would say, 8 turns of play. It could be shorter, so that should be reasonably quickly played. 8 turns, so you play 40 cards. I think initially it could take some time, but with experience, 3 hours tops should be the whole operation. That's all for today. I can't wait to put Donnerschlag to the table and play the actual game. Love the look, love the theme. I love also the mechanic where you try to reach one of the 3 points, which you secretly choose, and then start the Donnerschlag and try to get there, hopefully with the 6th Army breaking out and going in front of you and meeting you. That's all for today. If you like this video, please give thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content like this, and there will be more for this fantastic game, definitely subscribe. In case of any comments, in case of any questions, feel free to leave them under video. That's all for today.